about to begin. Please take your seats. Is about to begin. Thank you. Please welcome to the stage for our seaside chat, Robinhood Crypto GM, Johann Kerbrat, Chief Strategy Officer at Offchain Labs, AJ Warner, and the founder of Ethereum, Vitalik.
I see that you have the food already, but you're actually looking at us, so that's very nice. I'm sure that's for me, right? So yeah, I wanted to start off by maybe presenting everybody. So Vitalik, I'm sure everyone knows you, but maybe can you explain in a few words?
Yeah, I mean, I'm of course Vitalik Buterin, co-founder of Bitcoin Magazine. And I also do this Ethereum thing.
Hi, I'm AJ Warner, Chief Strategy Officer at Offchain Labs, initial developers and core contributors to Arbitrum.
Yeah, and so maybe before we get started into the actual question, we wanted to ask you, maybe Vitalik, what is kind of your day-to-day now? Ethereum is already live, decentralized, so what are you spending your time on?
I mean, often I find like that itself changes quite a bit month to month. I think recently, yeah, a lot of it has been thinking through the Ethereum privacy roadmap and things that the foundation will do to try to make sure that Ethereum does a better job of letting people interact with it and use it privately. So some things have already happened. There are a lot more interesting stuff to come. Also, like a lot of the time, it's like research on various individual topics. Like sometimes ZK related, sometimes security related. Like sometimes application level things. Like sometimes even going into stuff like ZK identity. A lot of just Ethereum Foundation internal things, and we've been also doing quite a bit of the Ethereum Foundation recently. It's already changed a lot over the last like 6 months or so, and there's a lot of other interesting and new things that should continue to happen quite soon. So it's like a mix of a whole lot of Ethereum related things.
Great. AJ, it's going to be hard to top that, but what do you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's a good question. Definitely hard to top Vitalik and his broad things that he's focusing on and publishing blog posts about different areas of research. But my core focuses are twofold. Within the Arbitrum ecosystem, I primarily contribute to growth and development of adoption of the platform. Obviously, like today, we're very excited about this partnership and collaboration. So I do a lot of that work, both for Arbitrum One, the public chain, as well as teams that want to use the stack. In addition to that, at Offchain Labs, I also do a lot of work around corporate development, new products, new initiatives that we want to operate, as well as help contribute to the Arbitrum DAO and the growth of the different business lines that they're focusing on.
Cool. And then Vitalik, the Pectra upgrade happened last month, or May 25th, I think. Tell us a bit about like how was the rollout? What do you think about it? And what do you think we still need to work on?
Yeah, so I think the two big things in the Pectra rollout. So one is just increasing the blob count from 3 to 6, and so that gives more space for layer 2s, such as you guys, to have more transactions on chain. And then the second thing is EIP is 7702, which is part of the account abstraction roadmap, and so it's a step toward user accounts being able to do more kinds of things and have better user experience. So I think going forward from here, it's basically one big part of it is scaling, and another big part of it is maintaining and even improving decentralization and security, right? So, like for example, with Fusaka, we have this thing called PeerDAS, which actually increases the amount of space in blobs even more. And so it will, over time, go up from the 6th level to, in the 10s and then in the hundreds. But it does this at the same time as actually reducing the amount of bandwidth that each individual node needs to have, right? So it's a win-win between scale and decentralization. And further down the pipeline, there's things like, for example, the whole ZK EVM roadmap, which actually simultaneously will increase the amount of space on for transactions on L1, and at the same time make it possible for any node, like even the smallest node, even a smartwatch, to be able to verify proofs that prove that everything that's happening in the Ethereum chain is following the rules. So a lot of things in terms of like scaling and hardening the protocol at the same time. So I think that's going to be a huge focus for us over the next like roughly in 3 to 5 years or so. There's a lot of exciting things on the user experience front, right? And like for me personally, I actually think of UX and security and privacy as like not being separate things, but as like being part of an integrated whole, right? We don't want to think about UX versus, like say, privacy. We want to think about improving the UX of privacy. So quite a bit of thinking starting to go into those kinds of topics. Similarly, like UX and security. Like I think, like the general kind of big thing that drives us, right, is that we want to enable a free and open economy where every user is able to participate on equal terms, and every user is able to take part of it in a way that really follows all of the principles of like open source software. Like you can go interact with the system with any software. If you don't like your wallet, you can switch to another one. You have a freedom of choice in how you use applications. You can combine different applications with each other, and then supporting, like making all of that be as secure as possible. So like thinking about those things holistically as a package, that's one of our huge priorities. And this is like mostly not L1 features. It's mostly like actually more application layers. So this is also like actually a significant change for the EF, right? Which is like we actually are starting to care about the application layer more, and actually being here with you guys is even part of that for me.
Oh, that's great. And I think you mentioned very quickly the Fusaka upgrade and PeerDAS, and you explained what it unlocked on the technical level, but what do you think you can build thanks to that?
I mean, I think the answer is so the question is, what does scale enable, right? And I think one way that I think about it is if you you can make an analogy to the internet, right? Because if you think about the amount of bandwidth that you had in 1995 versus 2005 versus 2015, right? Like it kept on going up, step by step, and the kinds of things you could do in 1995 was like basically send emails and text messages to each other, right? Then we started to have pictures, and then we started to have like voice and video calls, and then we basically ended up replacing the whole traditional telephone system. And then start talking about VR, and then like the games continued to improve, and then blockchains actually became possible, and then it became possible for the internet to replace big parts of, at this point, all of finance. So, like, I see the blockchain in the same way, right? Basically, I think there's a few things that are possible when it takes $1 to send a transaction. There's just so much more that becomes unlocked when it costs like 1 cent or 0.1 cents. So the way that I see it, right, is that our job as L1 is to just make the chain like more powerful and be able to handle more activity and provide even stronger guarantees to the users than it does today. And it's the work of you guys, the builders, to figure out how to take each and every improvement that comes and do great things with us that even we can't predict.
That's right, and we are building. We are busy. AJ, maybe not everyone knows about Arbitrum, so tell me a bit about the key features and why people should care about it.
Yeah, for sure. And just before I get into that, the L1, L2 relationship is actually much closer in the sense that the L2 is obviously enable scale, but at Offchain Labs, the core contributors to Prism, which is the leading staking client for Ethereum, is my colleagues as well. So we have this really close relationship with building the L1 and the L2 to make sure that it remains robust, secure, decentralized, and has the ability to scale. When we think about the role of Arbitrum, most people probably who have heard of Arbitrum and are familiar with it, think of it as a blockchain. And the announcement today with the Robinhood chain and the vision that we have moving forward is really Arbitrum as a platform. And that platform is a combination of a public chain, Arbitrum 1, very secure, decentralized, liquid, incredibly neutral for developers to build. And we want the platform, the Orbit stack, which allows you to have customizations to your own chain to actually be an enabler as you grow and as you scale so that we can support the entirety of the developer and user journey. And we think that's really critical because why people want their own blockchains is not solely a function of block space. It's customizations, it's features, it's the compounding of the user network effects that they might have with that user relationship today. And that's what we believe is very powerful about the Arbitrum stack and why we've taken this barbell approach of a very, very foundational bedrock chain on the public side as well as a very feature-rich SDK to enable people to go through that journey. Like Robinhood today, it's on Arbitrum 1 and it's going to migrate to the Robinhood chain. And that developer journey is something that's very critical for us as we think about what the power of our platform is.
And one thing that I've always found difficult in my previous career of being an engineer was to find great engineers that are able to really work well with Solidity and understand how to build. And for example, Nomi, do you know how to code on Solidity? So I think one thing that was exciting with Arbitrum was Stylus. Tell us a bit about this.
Yeah. I'm not the best one on the team to go into all the technical details of it, but I'll give you the high level of how Stylus works. And it's very thematic about how we think about Arbitrum. We don't want to dictate to developers of how they should be using the blockchain. When Arbitrum launched in 2021, it was an EVM-compatible chain. And at the time, that was a feat in and of itself for a roll-up to have full EVM compatibility. And obviously, the roll-up teams generally continue to improve that and perfect it. For us, that was a critical step. The EVM is a huge moat, I think, of the Ethereum developer experience. But there's a lot that can be unlocked with Stylus. So just to sort of describe it in short detail, Stylus is a second virtual machine that sits in Arbitrum. And you don't have to pick whether it's EVM or using Stylus. But Stylus enables you to develop in Rust, C, C++, and other languages that compile to WASM. And the power is you can pull in specific libraries or specific components of your application using the Stylus stack and still take the benefits of the battle-hardened, tested EVM code that might be proliferating throughout the ecosystem. So it's the same thesis that we have generally, which is we want the stack to be able to support developers wherever they are and however they want to use it, and Stylus has been a key unlock for that. And we expect as more developers from traditional financial institutions, gaming organizations, etc., and privacy in particular, Stylus has unlocked privacy very cheaply on Arbitrum 1 to continue to take more advantage of it.
And let's take a step back and talk about a feature that everyone is using. So staking. We just announced this evening, that we launched our staking product in the US, and in the EU it's been available for a long time. But if you look about it, there is only like a third of the total eligible supply that is staked right now, and maybe the goal is not 100%, but why do you think it's only a third, and where do you think we need to fix some of the gap to have more people participating in it? Maybe one of the two.
I mean, I actually personally think a third is fine, right? Like the analogy I use, right, is that like if we step back and think of like what is the point of staking, right? The point of staking is to protect the Ethereum network and to make it impractically expensive for someone to try to take over and attack the Ethereum network, and like you don't actually want to go like very far above that, right? We obviously like need a safety margin, right? But you know, the analogy is like you know, if you're trying to defend a country, but then you make signing up to the military so easy that literally every person in your country signs up, like that's not actually a success condition, right? That's like actually you know, like very wasteful, right?
That's
so. I think for ETH it's similar, right? You know, you want ETH to be used in different ways and to have all kinds of roles, you know, including staking, including collateral in DeFi, including all kinds of things. So, to me, the percentage is less of an issue. I think. I mean, the thing that is always good is making staking more accessible to people and ensuring that you know, control over the Ethereum network continues to be as distributed as possible. But I think as long as those things are done, I mean, I'm actually quite happy about the state of things.
That's awesome. And you know, AJ, tell us a bit. You know, we just announced this partnership today. Obviously, we announced pretty cool features, and you know, sometimes our product team needs a bit of help. So what would you want to build on the Robinhood chain? You know, if you had any choice here.
I don't know if Song needs any more work, but all kidding aside, I mean, you guys announced like an incredible roadmap and live products today, and extremely ambitious. But if I had to think about, you know, one thing, and you kind of obviously touched on it with the OpenAI and SpaceX. When I joined the space, I remember, you know, I was a law school student, and unless you're an accredited investor, it was a time when companies were going public later and later, especially, you know, early social media days, and you really had no access until these were deca-billion, $100 billion organizations. So if we could think about a way for how the Robinhood platform, which, you know, is focused on democratizing access, can provide access earlier stage to, you know, good investment opportunities, that would probably be the key feature that I think would sort of be the hybrid of crypto and Robinhood's ethos.
Absolutely. And Vitalik, maybe just one last question to close this. What is the one thing that you really want to get done well on Ethereum in the next 12 to 24 months?
It depends. You know, do we mean the protocol? Do we mean applications? Both?
Your choice. I like trick questions.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think you know, like I've generally talked quite a bit about the protocol. I think for me, the one big thing that I hope that Ethereum can really do well on the application side is have a user experience that has like good openness and security properties, but at the same time is like very possible for anyone to use, right? So the thing that we don't want, I think, is like we don't want, you know, the Ethereum nerd ecosystem that nobody understands how to use, and then separately the Ethereum grandma ecosystem where like you're safe but you have no rights and you're kind of locked in, right? And like really, like actually, like blending those in and making sure that users, you know, like have access to both at the same time, have access to the ability to, you know, like take more control over their account if they want to, but at the same time make it very easy for anyone in any position to get set up with an Ethereum account and participate in all kinds of applications. Like really nailing down getting both. And I mean, if we do that, then like I would be very happy.
Sounds great. Well, thank you both very much for participating. Thank you for our guests to listen. And now, bon appétit.
Thank you.
Thank you.